Welcome back to Table Talk. We are back with part 2 of our interview with Mr. Barry Crotzer from Homeland Security to discuss active shooter preparedness. That's something, being in a small town, sometimes we don't think about. Tell us what an active shooter is.
Karen, what an active shooter is actually could be an individual or individuals that's engaged in killing or attempting to kill us while we're out gathered in crowds or in populated areas. That's what an active shooter is. However, a better term for them is active killer because they're using more weaponry now. They're using vehicles, they're using edge weapons, even though firearms are the primary choice of weapon, always have been in these particular incidences. But it's somebody that goes out to where we're gathered with our family and friends and actively engages in taking lives. Sometimes there may be a target that they're after, and we may be collateral, or it could be it's just a random, that was a choice that they made that particular day. And,
so we're in a public area with our family and we hear something like shots fired. You know, it takes a moment for it to process. What is the first thing during those first few seconds that we need to start thinking about to protect ourselves?
That is a good question, and that's one of the problems us as humans have. We're creatures of reason. We got a reason why things happen. And just like you mentioned, as we hear this stuff, the first thing our brain will tell us, we'll go in denial because we got to reason it away. Oh, is that a shot? No, that's got to be fireworks. That's got to be a car backfiring. And as we process that information and realize people are yelling and screaming, this is a life-threatening situation, then that question mark hits us, what do we do now? The best thing that we can do is from this day forward, anybody, is already have a plan. Already know what we're going to do. Already plan it out. When we go anywhere, we need to be expected these things to happen because they're happening in big cities, small towns, unincorporated communities. They're happening everywhere. There's no place that's immune from them, which is a scary thing. But there's a lot of things that we can do, and we shouldn't be afraid. We should be empowered to know if we pay attention. We used to talk about be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of your surroundings. We talked for that for years and years, and it's like we're too busy on our phones. We're too busy with our devices. We're not paying attention. And the key is just look around, see what's going around, and if something like that does happen, then we need to realize this is a life-threatening situation, and we need to move. The thing about research that's been done, 98% of active shootings or active killers are single attackers, which means if we hear gunfire that way and we run opposite, we're running to safety. And that's a gold nugget for us and our families to realize, put that in a plan. But we have to have a plan because a lot of times if we don't, we might be going around in circles.
It's just like, I guess, you know, I think about with, we've had a few incidences in movie theaters, in auditoriums and places. We think about looking at exits for fires, but also in a situation, you know, just knowing where your exit is.
And that's important. And that's where we spend most of our time at work. We need to know every way to get in and out of that building. Those secret doors that the vendors use that nobody knows. And a lot of people don't think about that at work. Well, you know, there's workplace violence. These things occur in the workplace. Now, we have to take that outside with us in our family. If I go into Kroger, I need to know how to get out of Kroger other than that front door because that may be where the bad guy is, or maybe he set an explosive device. I need to know where the door, I know there's a back door, I may never have been out of it, but when we go in a location, we need to identify, how do we get out of here? If we I don't care if it's at CVS, because research has also shown us 46% of these cases are occurring in the commercial arena. And that's why, just like you, we're out with our friends, we're out with our family. Could be at a restaurant, could be a movie theater, picking my medicine up, could be down here at the courthouse while I walk in the courthouse. So it's important to identify, how do I get out of this location? And it takes a split second to do that.
So if you cannot escape, when and what situation do you hide?
Well, we talk about that very thing. You got to know where to hide. It's just like you got to identify doors. When you walk into a location, you need to be able to identify, if I have to hide, what can I hide behind? Now, you can go in to Walmart. Well, you know where the dressing room is, the fitting room. You know where the restrooms are. You know where I could climb up under that clothes rack because those clothes are dragging the floor because I've seen them before. Or whether it's in Kroger's, whether it's I can jump behind the meat counter, or if I'm at CVS, I can go behind the photo booth. Anywhere that we go into, we need to identify where can we hide. Because the thing is, if the killer can't see us, They can't kill us. That may be our only option, Karen, is to get out of their view, and that may be the few seconds that we have to stop and think, what do I do now? And that may be the only thing that can increase our chances of survival, because we know nothing's 100%. And this whole thing about active shooter is just increasing our chances of survival and minimizing our risk. And that's the only thing that we can do, and that's having a plan, knowing how I get out, knowing where I can hide if I have to hide.
And those seconds of hiding may give you those few moments to identify an exit or a plan in your mind, just to sit back and think, what's going on? What do I need to do to get out of this?
Exactly. If you're behind, you're hiding, and you can take some real deep breaths. That's one of the best things you do. Deep breaths, get oxygen to your brain, oxygen to your limbs, and be thinking, what do I do now? What if I get up and I walk out? I walk right into the killer. What am I going to do? That gives you time to think and to plan again. I'm in this situation now. I may have to do something. What I'm going to do? And they're precious moments, because these things don't last long.
Is there ever a situation where it's appropriate to do the fight?
Yes. We teach the run, hide, fight, and we even call it defend yourself, because some folks don't want to talk about fighting. I understand that. And it may be our defender. That may be the only option we have. That may be, Karen, that may be the first option. I may be in the front door when the killer comes in, and the only option I have is to defend myself, because if I run, he's going to shoot me. I got nowhere to hide. So the only option, and we have to put that in our plan, because one of the only options we may have for our survival is that we may have to fight. The thing about these individuals is this: when they come in, they've got surprise on their side. We don't expect it, we don't see it. When this does occur and we have to fight, surprise is on our side, because they don't expect us to do that. They expect us to lay down because they've got the weapon and the power. No, they don't. They've got the weapon, but they don't have the power. So there's things that we can do. Anything can be used as a weapon. It doesn't matter what you have. A pair of glasses, a mug, ink pen. We used to teach the ladies class. You got your keys right here.
Yeah.
You can stick somebody in the eye, stick them in the neck, stick them in the ear. Anything can be used as a weapon, and we have to think about those. And I do know that there's some folks that won't do that, but I know there's no doubt in my mind, and all of us have something in here. If we got something to live for, we've got something that we can fight for too.
So let's talk about preparedness, whether that's sitting at home thinking through situations of what would I do if this happened. How can we prepare ourselves for something like this occurring?
Okay. Well, having a plan, it doesn't cost anything. You don't have to go out and spend a bunch of money on an active shooter kit. Having a plan is simply thinking about what would I do. Just planning is knowing those exits, knowing how to get out. If I'm in my office one day, and here's something I can think about having a plan is something's going on in our office. I'm gonna go up, shut my door, I'm gonna lock my door, I'm gonna turn my light off, and I'm gonna think. That's practicing a plan. And at home, and all it is awareness, just thinking about what I would do. Anywhere, most of us are creatures of habit. We go to the same restaurants, we go to the same stores. It's easy to identify how to get in and get out. It's easy to identify where we can hide if we have to, because most of us are those creatures of habits, and we go to the same places. And just identifying those things, whether it's at Quick Mart where we go get a Coke and some chips, or if it's at the shopping mall, we're up at the big gallery at Franklin, where somebody comes in while we're up there. Identifying where we can go and sitting at our house, it's as simple as that. This is not complicated at all. But we've got to stop and we've got to think about it, because these numbers are skyrocketing. The numbers of events that are occurring around our country are escalating, and we have to be prepared. And that plan is one of the best things that we can do.
So we're still, I'm thinking back at home, I want to talk to my children about it. How do I do that without just scaring them to death?
Well, and excuse me, but we know our family and our friends, and we know how to do that. But we take time to talk to them about stranger danger. We talk about that. We talk about stop, drop, and roll. We talk about how to put a fire out. They get caught on fire. We talk about having a fire plan in our home. We talk about those things, and we just take this as an extension of that. Look, we need to talk about if you happen to be out and somebody comes into a location and they have a knife or they have guns or whatever they may be doing trying to hurt people. This is what we need to think about doing. It's no different than that guy out there that's a stranger trying to pick me up. You don't talk to strangers. We teach our kids that. Take that same method, that same process, and talk to them about if we're out somewhere and this occurs, what can they do? And it don't have to be scary. I know some folks, it's a scary thing to think about being involved and falling victim in being one of these. And that would be a scary thing. But it doesn't mean that we have to die, and it doesn't mean that we have to give up. and we can talk to our friends and our family about this just as easy as we can talk about that stop, drop, and roll, and fire protection and fire prevention and danger, stranger danger, the same thing, the same process.
So there's a lot of people out there that we can think of in our minds that may be going through tough times in their lives. Maybe they've got some instability going on, whether it's mentally. At what point, you see some factors or some signs in this person that you think things aren't right? What do we do?
This is one of those begging points. I just beg folks, and it has to do with social media as well. You'll see things posted on social media that concern just a lot of folks going there just rant and raving. Like you said, some folks are lost, lonely, and left out of society. At least they think they are, and they may be going through depression. Maybe they got emotional problems. But if we know and we hear, where it's a friend, family, co-worker, or just an acquaintance, and we hear them talking about doing, we have to let our local police, our local sheriff department know. We have to let them know. If we see something posted on Facebook or Twitter where this individual is making some type of threat, that we got to let our police department, sheriff departments know. We got to go knock on those doors and go talk to those individuals. Most likely it's where they're venting, but we don't know, because when these cases occur, these individuals don't just snap. They plan these things. They think about these things, and some of them talk about it, and we're not getting it. And it's like when these things are over, Karen, and the investigation starts, you can start talking to friends and family members, and some of them will go, I'm surprised. I can't believe he did that. And others are going, I'm not surprised because I heard him say this, this, and this. Well, did you tell anybody? Well, no, I didn't want to get involved. Well, we have to get involved because, folks are dying. In our small towns that we live in, that's probably going to be our family, our friends, our co-workers. And if we hear anybody saying these things, we need to reach out and let the police department, sheriff department know. They can go knock on their door, talk to them and interview them. If there's nothing in there, it's fine. But if they're seeing things, just like that, there was a girl, I think it was in Virginia, last week before last, she was planning an attack at her school, female, which is unusual because 96% of the individuals carry these attacks out are males. She was going to attack her school. She had their emergency plan. She was following around the SRO. She had this journal, and the way she got caught was her father went into her room, read that journal, and it scared him. He saw what she was saying, called the police, and they arrested her. Now they're doing an evaluation on her. Same thing with us here. I don't care if it's our brother or sister or whoever, and we hear these things, we got to let somebody know.
And that would be tough, but we have to take it very seriously.
It is. If we can't intervene and try to do something ourselves, which is really a good thing too, in the workplace or wherever it may be, if we got co-workers saying things and doing things, there may be things that we can do to intervene ourselves without calling the police, and most of us know at what level we can do that. But still, if it gets to the point that the threats are that real and they're concerning us that bad, you need to let your local police and sheriff departments know that. And
we were talking just a moment ago about the initiative that the Homeland Security, tell us about that, what that was called.
Karen, it's called If You See Something, Say Something. And we want everybody, and it's just a simple initiative, and it doesn't matter if you're driving down the road and you see something suspicious. Could be just any type of crime. It doesn't have to be terrorism or active shooter or anything we talked about. Any type of crime that you see. If you see something that seems suspicious, say something. And it has to do with suspicious behavior. That's what we're keying on. What is that person doing that's abnormal? What are they doing that's out of the ordinary compared to everybody else at the same place and same time? Has nothing to do with color, creed, religious belief. It has to do with suspicious behavior. What are they doing that draws our attention to them? That's what the key is. If you see something, got to say something.
Because it can make a difference.
It can make a difference. And it has made a difference.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Barry. This has been very fascinating. I want to say thank you to our viewers for tuning in today. If you are interested in preventing identity theft, or more information on protecting yourself from active shooter situations, you're welcome to go to dhs.gov. That's Department of Homeland Security. They've got a lot of useful information on their website. We thank you for joining us today for this topic, and hope you will tune in again for more Table Talk. Thank you so much.